What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to One Reno at a Time. I'm Michael Zuber, your host. I just got, a little darker, a little shorter. No, just
a little good looking. Yeah, a little younger.
What's going on, guys? You all know, maybe you don't know, I'm Adrian Hernandez. I love these episodes because we get a flip-flop with Zuber, and I get to be the one asking Zuber the questions. And today we're going to talk about some common misconceptions that we have, consumers have, agents have, wholesalers have, flippers have in the marketplace. So, Zuber, welcome to the show.
I appreciate it, man. I love the fact when my guests come on and say, I got a bunch of questions for you, because that's what we're here for, right? We're here to dig in. We're here to help people. You interact with a whole set of people that I don't interact with. So getting their insights, getting their questions, getting their stumbling blocks is a true treat for me. So thank you for doing this.
Yeah, I'm excited. Let's start off, guys. I think the biggest misconception that I see out there, and it happened recently in real time, when we see in the news that interest rates are going lower, and the consumers think that means interest rates are going lower. Can you solve this equation for us, Zuber?
So we'll try to treat this as an education experience. And I tried to warn people, and in historical precedent, the last 3 or 4 times the Fed has cut, mortgage rates went up, which is what most people are concerned about. So let's first talk off with what did and did not happen last Wednesday. So the Federal Reserve, 18 members of the board, 12 voting members, 11-1 voted for a 1/4 point rate cut. Now, you should understand what they're doing. So the Fed only directly controls what's called the overnight lending rate. It's what banks charge banks.
Overnight?
So it's overnight. It's only overnight. Everything builds on that. So it is often said that the Fed out to 2 years can influence it. Because if you look at the interest rate for a 90-day CD or a 6-month or a 2-year, you can see that rates go up the longer you're out there. So there's duration, length of time, and then there's the Fed rate on the front end. Now, when you go out to the long end, which starts at 10 years, out to the 30-year and then 30-year mortgages, the Fed rate doesn't directly impact the 10-year note. It just doesn't. There is, most people watching this are consumers and know the stock market.
Right.
What they don't realize is the bond market dwarfs the stock market. It's where the quote unquote smart money plays. It's deep. It's a deep pool of capital. And the bond market, or what sometimes are called the bond vigilantes, can force rates up because maybe the Fed made the wrong decision on the short end. And if you want the best example of this, you can go back 1 year when the Fed was aggressive. When the Fed shocked the market, the Fed cut 50 basis points.
Right.
This is a year ago, 13 months ago. And mortgage rates went up 1/2. And people lost their mind. Because what the bond vigilantes were saying was the Fed made a mistake. The economy is stronger than this. And you're gonna spike inflation was essentially what the bond vigilantes were saying. And so that's just another example. But let's talk about mortgage rates now.
Real fast. How do the vigilantes do that? How do they? What exactly do they do to cause the interest rates to go up?
Bond vigilantes are demanding a higher return. So when the government sells bonds, there's a price and an interest rate, and they just won't participate. The only way the bonds get sold is if the interest rates go higher and the price goes lower. Right? That's an inverted thing. So they just refuse to participate.
Wow.
And then interest rates have to go up, and then they play.
Wow.
So the last thing I would want to tell consumers, again, if we're talking about mortgage rates, is the bond market is much, much smarter than, just waiting for the Fed. Why do I say that? The bond market understands that mortgage rates are 30 years and that the average duration is 10 years. So what happens is when the bond market expects a Fed rate cut like we just had, you will see mortgage rates fall ahead of time.
Right.
And if you go back and
typically, what's the length before? A week? Are they already anticipating that a week before?
Yeah, I would argue they're potentially participating 4, 5, 6, 8 weeks ahead of time,
Oh,
right?
wow.
Right. So the market, I mean, right now, if you want to have a conversation about the future, the bond market is pricing in at least one more cut this year, right now.
Right.
And if the market really believes 2 cuts are coming, you'll see mortgage rates drift lower. If the market believes Scott Bessent, U.S. Treasury Secretary, that we should have 6 rate cuts, mortgage rates will go lower. It'll go lower before it happens. Right. So again, the bond market is a leading indicator. It doesn't wait for the Fed. Now, consumer debt, like credit cards, CD rates, all of those can be impacted the same day it happens, but not mortgage rate. Mortgage rates, long term, Fed funds rate, short term. There is a loose connection, but when you're playing out in the big money, it's priced in early. So that's why I kept screaming at people in my community, like if you're doing a rate and term refi now, and it makes sense, lock it. If you like it, lock it.
Right.
But a lot of people, once again, didn't listen. And they're like, Michael, thank you, but you're wrong. The Fed's cutting. And guess what happened? The Fed did cut, but Jerome Powell came out and was a total dick. And rates went up because the market didn't expect such a hawk. So again, if you watch the announcement Wednesday, and I was live when this was happening, the 10-year note went below 4%. And then Jerome Powell got in front of the microphone and rates ripped higher.
Right.
Because what he was doing, he was taking back the expectations of future cuts, and the market reacts instantly. And so people that bet on mortgage rates falling after the rate cut were once again wrong and didn't realize the rate cut was already priced in.
Right.
So yeah,
very huge. I've had a lot of buyers reach out, investors reach out, that just weren't aware of that. And you guys, how many of us are actually really aware of that, right? We hear rates are going down and we think that interest rates are going down. So then the next question is, what rates are going down when they say that?
So again, it's typically credit card debt would go down slightly. You go from 28 to 27. CDs would go down. Savings rates, like savings just will go down. That's all the stuff that's directly connected to the Fed's rate. You'll see that overnight. They'll make adjustments. But anything on the long end, 10-year and longer, it's already priced in.
It's already priced in. Super huge. So you guys, while you're listening to this, if you're in the market to get a loan, pay attention to that. I think there are some lenders that understand that. And then there's some surprisingly that don't, right? And it's mind-boggling, and I don't understand how they're in the industry, but your lenders should know this, guys. Just like you said, Zuber, locking in a good rate. We're in the process of doing a couple of refinances right now, and it's the same thing. The number makes sense. All the numbers make sense, right? But what I like about this lender is he called me 2 weeks ago, and he's like, dude, we need to lock now. We need to lock now. Yeah. And I'm like, in my mind, but they're going to lower rates. Well, hold on. Let's remember the process. Yeah. We're already built in. Click, you're right. Right. And then it's funny because I call him that day just to mess with him. And I'm like, hey, interest rates went lower, right? Get me a new loan. And he starts laughing and he goes, it's amazing how many people are calling me that are demanding, saying, I told you interest rates are going to go lower. I told you they're going to go lower. They did it. Right. And you see it all over Instagram. The day that happens, Zuber, I can't count the amount of agents that made videos about interest rates going lower. And that should scare most consumers.
Yeah, it should definitely scare most consumers. Because again, I understand. No, I don't understand. No, we've had the last 5 times the Fed cut, mortgage rates went up. If you haven't figured out that they're not connected yet, you're not paying attention. So I was going to give them a pass, but I'm not going to give them a pass.
Well, you know what it is they're just relying on the media news, right? They're not using their own.
There's no depth. There's no
exactly.
Depth.
There's no depth. Couldn't spot on. So then I have a question for you. And some of you may be listening and be like, shoot, I already locked a loan. Zuber, can I change that rate once I've already locked my rate?
So again, work with your lender. This is very lender specific. I know lenders that allow you to relock. And now it'll cost you something, right? They allow one relock. Typically it costs you a quarter point or something. You could do that. One of the little known industry hacks that I've seen others do, again, I'm not suggesting you do this, but I've clearly seen it, so we'll share it here, is you may be a borrower who starts 2 loans, and you start 2 loans with 2 different lenders. And yeah, you're going to have some costs in that, but you lock one and let the other one float. And then when you get to closing, I think that's a little disingenuous, but I know plenty of people that do it.
Wow.
But yeah, there are some non-cool ways to get around it, but typically speaking, there's always a cost, right? Running 2 files costs. Getting that one-time step down or buy down cost. But at the end of the day, if you're in my community, I want you to know the mortgage payment, the interest rate. And if you like the deal, you like the deal. Don't overthink it. You're gonna buy this thing once, but you're gonna own it for 30 years. So you'll be operating it a lot more often than the day of closing. So remember, this is a long-term game.
Huge. Love that. Next common misconception. People think that if I wait for interest rates to go lower, I'll get a better deal because my loan amount is less. Zuber, please.
Something that we've hopefully learned over the last couple of years is, well, first off, the average consumer is stupid, so we can say that. But also, lower interest rates increases demand. And if you're one of those people that are waiting for mortgage rates, for example, to go to 5.5%, which I know there's plenty of people going like, Zuber, I'm not buying until they're 5.5. Well, great. Guess what? There's a lot of people waiting for 5.8 and 5.9 and 5.7 and 5.6 and yes, 5.5. But that will just lead to more demand. And heaven forbid, oh my God, Adrian, if we get to 5.5 fast, like, over a week, like there was just a cataclysmic drop, the demand would come flying off the sidelines and would dwarf supply. And you'll probably end up paying more. You will certainly pay more in price. You might actually end up paying more in payment, which is really funny. So again, I believe housing is and always has been a payment based, which is price interest rate. So yeah, be careful what you wish for, because there's a lot of people waiting for lower rates. And it's going to be interesting because Fannie Mae came out today and lowered their interest rate forecast to sub 6% next year. And, there are people out there talking about 5.5. And Scott Bessent, right, U.S. Treasury Secretary, just said today, let me see, I have it in my notes. I want to make sure I get his quote accurate. I love that I have this here. We are going into an easing cycle. We will see a massive decrease in mortgage rates. Powell should have signaled 100 to 150 basis point cuts. So Scott Bessent, U.S. Treasury Secretary, arguably one of the most powerful people in the world, says interest rates will decrease massively. Demand.
Prices.
Yep.
Wow.
Crazy.
I see it happening. I've seen it happen over the last 3 years, where people waited. I see areas specifically here in South Orange County that have gone up $1 million, and in the last 2.5 years. I mean, Zuber, my area went up because it wasn't like not that many people knew about it. Then all of a sudden, it got really, and it went up $1.2 million in 13 months. Anybody waiting for the interest rate to go lower has completely smacked themselves out of the entire equation.
They'll never buy there. They just won't buy.
No, they won't. And so, to this point, guys, Zuber has said time after time after time again, it's not timing the market, guys. It's getting in the market, doing the work, getting in there now. Don't let that misconception. I hear it every day. I can't imagine how many times you hear it, right?
Every day.
And I hear it more from sellers, right? We hear it from sellers where they're like, oh, well, I'm going to wait for the interest rates to go down, and then I'm going to put my home on the market. I'm like, I get that, but let's talk about this real fast, right? Like, I get it, but what is the next thing? Oh, well, I'm going to buy the next house. We need to talk about this. This makes zero sense, right? So, for all of us, I think it's a big misconception, especially for home sellers too. It's on both sides, right? It's on the buyer side and on the seller side.
Yeah, folks, at the end of the day, when I think about all of this, it really just boils down to doing the work, understanding what a great deal is for you, understanding you don't create alligators, make sure it cash flows day one, 30-year fixed rate debt. You're going to own the asset for 30 years. It doesn't really matter at the point of purchase, but just make sure it's a great deal day one and you'll be happy. And then you go on to the next one. So again, stop being stupid, people. That's what I got to say.
So good. I'm going to leave with the last common misconception. And this is mainly for the buy and hold investors, agents that I talk to, wholesalers that I talk to, flippers that I talk to, that they do deals, or even, what I even love is when I talk to the W-2 employee who's, been at their job and they're like, Adrian, I am just waiting till I have everything in alignment until I buy my first rental. It's a common misconception where everyone thinks that they need to get all these ducks in a row to buy their first rental. And Zuber, I know you're going to, you talk about this all the time, but I believe it's huge. Can you give us some insight on this misconception?
Yeah. At the end of the day, you should always be like, if you're going to be a real estate investor, you should always be in the market, even if you don't have any money, even if you don't have the right credit yet. Because the first part of this is you got to get ready to be ready. I think there's too many people that are saying, I'm going to buy next year, so I'll start looking next year. Sorry, that's not how it works, right? You got to spend, even me, right? I had to spend 6 months looking in Nevada, before I really figured out what a great deal was,
right.
And I'm a guy that's been doing this for 20 years. You just can't do it overnight. So again, if you are out there and you're saying you want to buy next year, great, congratulations. Start looking now. Start going to open houses now. Start seeing what sells. Start seeing what comes back on the market. Start learning your buy box. And at the end of that effort, 3, 6, 9 months, you will understand what an average deal is. And once you know what average is, you can do a great deal. It is simple, but not easy, right? It takes focus and daily discipline. It takes what most people don't have. In this world of Instagram and TikTok, they've got 5 seconds of focus, and you're not going to get rich 5 seconds at a time. So if you want it, go get it. And if you don't want it, be honest and, go scroll TikTok.
So good. So good. You guys do the work, as Zuber says, right, in the ORAT rules. What I love more than the ORAT, and I love the ORAT rules, but what I really love is the hat that you got going on, the Everyday Wealth Builders. And I know we've talked about that. Can you tell one more time what exactly that is? So
I've been building this one rental at a time community for 8 years now. Right? It's going to 8 years. And I've always felt like like our group or our community is something. And it wasn't until I went back and read one Millionaire Next Door again that it hit me. Right. If you haven't read Millionaire Next Door again, it's okay. It's basically live below your means. You can become a millionaire, as a teacher, policeman, all of that. But what that story really told to me was that my community is just everyday wealth builders. It's not about income. It's about focus and consistency. It's about a decade. And, my vision is we create something as impactful as the Millionaire Next Door. And the Millionaire Next Door is one of the most impactful books I've ever read, that in Rich Dad, Poor Dad,
right.
At least for me. So I think anybody in my community should acknowledge being an everyday wealth builder. It takes focus and daily discipline. It takes consistency. It takes time, but it's worth it. So that's why I wear the hat proudly, because I think this is who we are, is everyday wealth builders.
So good. And I couldn't agree more in all aspects, right? I love that you said it's not about the income of this group, right? It's the overall growth. It's the everyday, right? In all aspects. So big. I love that. Speaking of that, you hitting the gym?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, trying to get fit, I'm still struggling to get to 9.9%. I've been stuck at about 12% body fat for about 6 weeks. So I've got to either I got to do something. I've only got 3 months left to get sub 10. So it's time to focus. 45
minutes of cardio in the morning, I think, may help.
Yeah. I did that this morning, 45 minutes. Yeah. So yeah, it's being 53 folks. If you're in your 20s, you're made of plastic. Go get healthy. When you're 53, you're brittle. So it's not as easy.
I'm in my 30s and I feel brittle, Zuber. I can't imagine.
Yeah, but again, man, I'm on this health journey. I've dropped 40 pounds of fat, added 12 pounds of muscle. I went from an extra large shirt to a medium. I went from 34s to 30s. I in the right light, I've got a 6-pack. And, I'm trying to be a 53-year-old man worth, 8 figures and have a 6-pack. There's not many of us out there. So I'm trying.
There's not. And I absolutely love it, because we can buy all the houses. You can earn all the money. But unless you're here to enjoy it, unless your your health is there and your well-being is there, right? What's the whole point of that? So I absolutely love that, Zuber. Very inspiring. Everything you've done, everything you do and have done is it's just continuing to inspire everybody. I know for me, it makes me want to up my fitness game, and we
go.
appreciate you. You guys, if you haven't done so already, make sure you get your ticket to the event in February. That's going to be live in Las Vegas, Nevada. I personally, this is a staple event for me. I know there's going to be a handful of other people there. I'm dragging Omar there this time. I don't give a shit what he says. So we'll all be there. I may get shanked by, anyways. Yes, get your tickets if you haven't done so. And if you haven't, I don't know what you're doing yet. It costs less than a Starbucks cup of coffee. Get yourself involved in the school community, guys. These are my shameless plugs for the One Reno at a Time community. Appreciate all you, Zuber. Thank you for tuning in today.
You're amazing, man. Take care, brother. Take care. Bye.